Mary and I were thinking about buying a house that we really liked.
We're staying right next to a castle.
We were anguishing over it about a year ago. It was a lot more money, and we were thinking about the additional mortgage and 30 more years of paying that off. We were just speculating about what we could do with that money if we didn't spend it, and one of our ideas was, well, we could spend a little bit of money making our house the way we wanted it, and then we could spend the rest on, for example, a year in Europe.
Go in this one!
Do you see him? He went in one, and then now I don't see him. When I describe it to people, it mostly sounds like a midlife crisis, I guess. But I've been complaining about the corporate career that I've had for years and years, and I just couldn't quite draw the line and stop doing it for different reasons. And then finally, this thing came up, and it was a good opportunity to step out of that. So a year of not working and living in Europe is sort of like the big barrier between 18 years of working as a corporate weenie and then 18 years going forward doing something else. So we're going to have 2 passengers sit on each seat. How many are on the bus now?
6.
We're on the wrong page.
There's 6.
Okay, so Jojo, put 3 more stuffed animals on the seats. How many are on the bus now?
300, that's 900.
9.
9, good.
Wait.
As adults who are traveling in Europe, we didn't want to be limited by the kids' schedules in school. So homeschooling made it easier for us to do what we wanted to do. 74, but it's 19, so it's actually 70. It's hard. I'm learning a lot about teaching. It's very, very tricky. It takes a lot of patience. I'm going to have to look up bones because I've actually forgotten. I know that these are your femurs.
This is your...
Well, we can look this up because we have the internet right here.
pelvis. Scott, this is your pelvis.
I think you should.
I need a picture. No, I don't have to go to work every day and worry about someone else's, profits. Here. Bones. It's definitely a different life, but I haven't really woken up in a cold sweat, feeling like, I'm so, removed from the real world, from the rat race. I have to say, I haven't had a moment where I panicked about that in.
But it's only been a month. Yeah, well, it's true.
Well, but when I was working, I used to wake up every night at some point, or at some point during the day, just really panicky and worried about what was going on in work and whether I was doing a good job, whether people thought I was doing a good job, worrying about what was going to happen the next day and the next day and the next day. And we don't have those worries anymore. And we still worry about your whole life, but you're not worrying about someone else's motivations, someone else's goals. You're worrying about your own. Yeah. Yes? What's the total number of days in the first 2 months of a common year? So what are the first 2 months of the year?
December?
Well, that's the last month. So the first month is January, right?
January.
Sure, January and what?
June.
I learned a few days ago, he's not so good on his years, or his months of the year. I don't know why. What's after January?
March.
It's actually kind of a little harder than normal school. Because, in homeschool, it's more individual, but in regular school, there's one teacher and 28 kids. So you just have to get through it.
How come your handwriting is so nice here? I just realized something looking through there. It's actually really nice in August and not as nice in September. I'm sort of sticking with the basics, so I'm focused on math and reading and grammar and spelling. We're not leaving history and science and things out, but we're getting a lot of history because in the afternoons we do excursions every afternoon to ruins and museums and so forth.
I'm in the car, and we're going to Andorra. It's not Pandora, it's Andorra.
Look at this. This is where we are.
Really?
Martinet.
How small is Andorra?
I'm learning a lot about European history. France, Spain. Through going to places.
Yeah.
Do you want to go down now?
I think kids have only a certain threshold of being immersed in history, and then it all starts to look the same. And so when you say, oh, look at this wonderful cathedral, they start saying, yeah, that looks pretty much just like the one back in Barcelona.
I didn't actually want to come at first. I just didn't like the feeling of leaving home. And like leaving my friends back there. And I ended up, it's more like here, you can spend more time with your family because no one's at work, no one's really at school. Well, we're at school, but we're together at school.
28? 22?
No, 28 was right, but why'd you go back to 22?
Oh yeah. 32.
Right, keep going.
In Seattle, my dad's
Yeah.
away. My dad's at work, like,
Right.
so I only see him in the morning and in the afternoon. So I feel like we get to spend more time with the family.
All right, Jojo. Do you remember the definition of a noun?
Yeah. A noun is either a person, place, thing, or idea.
Really good. Do you remember what a common noun is?
A common noun is, this is the most I ever seen my dad. Because he's always at work and I barely see him. I think the people at work that work with him see him more than I do, usually. But this year I seen him the most I ever have.
When I was working, I didn't even realize that I wasn't around. I thought I was around all the time. I don't think they felt like they were neglected, but now that we come here, it's different and we're all together. If you think about the amount of time in the day that you're really with your kids, if you work in an office, it's not very much. If you take out sleeping, and you take out commuting, and you take out working. I'm not regretful because the thing that I was doing before allowed for what we're doing now, and so you have to think about the causation of the whole thing. But it does make me wonder what we'd go back to when we go home, and what we'll. Like, I don't think I could go back to that situation that I didn't know was so upside down. The whole corporate thing, you get kind of sucked into it because it's easier than actually, living with your family and,
It is?
It is, well, because there's rules for that that say, if you do this, you do your resume and, you do this proper search, you'll get a job, and that job involves something in the area of 9 to 5. It's never 9 to 5. It's always actually more because you have to put more into it in order to get anywhere. And then they have you, and then you get sucked in, and then all of a sudden you're saying, wait a minute, I guess Saturday is when I'll see the kids. You remember the one work?
Work while you work with all your might.
That's the idea of it. Work while you work. Play.
While you play.
This
This is the way to be happy each day.
Josephine has all these fantastic careers for me that she keeps coming up with. Selling lemonade in front of the house was one.
Things done by halves are never done right.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about that poem.
Like Dr. Seuss.
That's
Dr. Seuss, doesn't it? Having chickens and raising eggs and selling that, and then today we came up with being a beekeeper. A beekeeper, a barn builder, and a chicken farmer. You know what that's a map of?
Yeah.
What?
The world.
That it's exactly what the survey I took with my guidance counselor in high school, where you fill in the things and it says what you're most likely for.
Back with more Magic Dad!
And what it said for me, it said farmer. And it said for Mary, bus driver. So we figure I'll be a farmer and Mary will be the bus driver, and we'll have this happy pastoral life.
I actually have to pinch myself every day to feel like we're really lucky to be able to do this.
But yet, there's probably a lot of people who are lucky enough to do this kind of thing and don't do it.
No, because they choose to have more things or another car or a bigger house. And, I love stuff. Believe me, I love stuff. But I don't, actually, stuff gets in the way, and I'd rather go do things.
it's sort of a test, I think, of this thing where if you do what you're interested in, then something will come of it. It's just, that's what it is. It's an experiment in that. And, you know, I thought about that ever since I was in college, because I read that that was what you should do. But nobody ever does that. I mean, that's a generalization. People do that, but few people actually just do what they're interested in and what they want to do. Usually get distracted into something that's, oh, close enough, or not like it at all, but pays the bills, that kind of thing. And so I think it would be interesting to have an experiment of just doing what you want to do, doing what you're interested in, and seeing what happens. And it can't work out badly, because life isn't long enough to have it really work out badly.
What's the worst thing that could happen? Like, well, the worst thing that could happen is, you know, you're elderly and say, oh, that was not that good an idea. But even then, you would have had a good time doing it, and so, you know, you're not worse for it.